Good afternoon. This is the proposal defense of Bamidele Taiwu. And my name is Andy McGill. I am the dissertation chair. Um, there are actually three members of our committee. However, Dr. Peter James, who is the content expert, is not able to be with us for this actual meeting. However, he has sent me questions in advance that I will read on his behalf. He will review them when he evaluates the recording of this session and then take the action that he must take as a committee member as if he were here. So with that, I'd like to ask Dr. Berner to introduce herself, please.
I'm Dr. Berner. I'm the methodologist on the committee.
Thanks, Dr. Berner. And with that, Bamidele, we will turn it over to you and we will save our questions till the end.
Okay, thank you. So the title of my study is Predicting Correlations Between Financial Behavior, Knowledge, Attitude, Skills, and Self-Efficacy in Non-Governmental Employees. So in previous research has shown that there's a need to determine if and to what extent financial behavior, financial knowledge, financial attitudes, and financial skills combined and individually explain the variance in financial self-efficacy among adults between ages 25 to 55 working in non-governmental organizations in the United States. Research has shown that 2/3 of respondents in an American Psychological Association 2020 stressed that in America, that reported that money was a significant source of stress in their lives that was a statistical mirrors several years of previous findings. This study will emphasize the need to determine if and to what extent financial behavior, financial knowledge, financial attitudes, and financial skills combined and individually explain the variance in financial self-efficacy among adults aged 25 to 55 working in non-governmental organizations in the United States. The problem statement is, it is not known if and to what extent financial behavior, financial knowledge, financial attitudes, and financial skills combined and individually explain the variance in financial self-efficacy among adults aged 25 to 55 working in non-governmental organizations in the United States. The purpose of this study, quantitative correlational predictive study, is to examine if and to what extent financial behavior, financial knowledge, financial attitudes, financial skills combined and individually explain the variance in financial self-efficacy among adults aged 25 to 55 working in non-governmental organizations in the United States. So here are the theoretical foundations that I'm focusing on for this study. There are three of them. The social cognitive theory, that's going to focus on measuring the financial self-efficacy variable. The economic importance of financial literacy theory, that's going to focus on measuring the financial knowledge, financial skills, and financial attitudes variables. And then the theory of behavioral finance will focus on measuring the financial behavior variable. So in respect to the social cognitive theory, the practical significance will focus on examining the impact of adults implementing their financial self-efficacy to their everyday life situations. And for the economic importance of financial literacy theory, that will focus mostly on examining whether or to what degree its components are related to customer financial self-efficacy. And then for the theory of behavioral finance, will focus on examining the impact of adult decisions regarding their finances, which in turn influences their financial behavior. So the rationale for the methodology and design. So the rationale for the methodology is a quantitative is quantitative because in question, all the variables are gonna be produced in numerical data, which is best appropriate to analyze the data quantitatively. And then for the rationale for the design is a correlational predictive study because in question we're focusing on measuring four variables encompassed to how the variance in one other variable is responding to this non-governmental working population. So these are the variable this is the variables construct of the study. The financial self-efficacy scale, the financial literacy questionnaire, and then the revised financial management behavior scale. They all have they're all Likert scales, and they're all continuous. So my first research question is, to what extent do financial behavior, financial knowledge, and financial attitudes and financial skills combined explain the variance in financial self-efficacy among adults aged 25 to 55 working in non-governmental organizations in the United States? And this is my null and alternative hypothesis for this question. The second research question is, to what extent do financial behavior, financial knowledge, financial attitudes, and financial skills individually explain the variance in financial self-efficacy related to the model among adults aged 25 to 55 working in non-governmental organizations in the United States? And these are the known and alternative hypotheses for this question. So the population is sampled. So the unit of analysis is all working adults, and the population of interest is all working adults aged 25 to 55 who reside in the United States. And then the target population will include all non-governmental workers who are aged 25 to 55 who are listed in the SurveyMonkey audience. And then the appropriate sample size for this study will be 85, but I have to account 25% additional, which would account for 106 participants to account for any missing data. So this is my G-power analysis. And this is the justification that I have to have at least a minimum of 85 participants. I'm going to also incorporate, so I'm going to use social media and SurveyMonkey audience and such as Facebook and LinkedIn and Qualtrics if necessary. And there's no ethical concerns at this time. And like I said, I have to have 25% in addition to account for any missing data. So the minimum sample size is 106 to account for any missing data. So the data sources, I'm going to incorporate 3 data sources. The first one is SurveyMonkey audience. The second one is a Facebook group. And the third one is snowball method. And my inclusion and exclusion criteria include the participants must work at least 35 hours or more a week. They must be a working adult, either male or female. They must be between the ages of 25 to 55. And they must work in non-governmental organizations in the United States for at least 1 year, and they must reside in the United States. So these are the instruments that I mentioned that I'm going to be using to collect my data. So the financial self-efficacy scale, that was validated by Loan 2020, 2011. And then the financial literacy questionnaire, that was validated by Stella et al. 2020. And then the revised financial management behavior scale, that was validated by Dewey and Chow 2011. So these are the data collection analysis procedures. I'm going to apply a multiple regression analysis to collect my data, to analyze my data. I'm going to also clean and compile any missing data. When participant skips a question, I'm going to recode reverse responses to word items. I'm going to test for the assumptions. I'm also going to do description of the test to see if the test passed or not. I'm also going to establish and develop the descriptive statistics for the variables. And if it's necessary, I may do a post hoc analysis if I wasn't able to if I weren't able to hit my minimum sample size if it's necessary. So these are the assumptions for the multiple regression analysis. There are 8 assumptions. They include one of my variables have to be a predictive variable. One of my variables has to be a continuous criteria variable. I must have independence of observations. I must have linearity. I must have homoscedasticity. I must have multiple linearity. And then there should be no outliers. And I also have to test for morality. So if one of the assumptions fail for the multiple regression analysis, I'm going to do data transformation. I'm going to incorporate removal of outliers, or I will proceed with the analysis to provide a justification even if the assumptions are violated. And one of the conditions for me to hit ACRA level 2 approval was that I must rephrase my research question 2 and my hypothesis that must be in alignment with that question. And I have done that by adding the phrase relative to the model after the variable of financial self-efficacy and at the end of every hypothesis related to research question 2. Thank you for your time. Do you have any questions? And these are my references right here.
Thank you, Bamidele. Very nice summary of your study. Um, uh, the first thing I'll do is ask that you go to the slide that says data sources. Yes. The first line says 3 data sources. I think you mean participant sources.
Yes.
So that's just a technical thing that I wanted to point out so that the slides are accurate, that should be changed to participant sources. Now what I will do is stand in for Dr. James and ask a couple of the questions that he had after reviewing your documents. Could you please explain the emphasis on non-governmental employees? And does previous research address governmental employees, or is there other reason why you made this choice?
Okay, so in terms of non-governmental employees, um, there wasn't a lot of research that was done in terms of the variables that was done. Most of the research was done by college age students or people that are enrolled in college. So the purpose that's why the reasons why non-governmental employees kicks in there, because there was not a lot of research that's been done with non-governmental workers, and especially in terms of how this specific target population, it will be good in terms of knowing um, how finances can be improved in this specific population.
Yeah, thank you. And I think one of the other things that we discussed is that what distinguishes the non-governmental employees is what, since this whole study is about finances and ideally preparing for the financial future, aka retirement of people, and them properly saving enough resources to do that successfully. The difference between governmental employees, a large portion of which are, to the extent anyone is still covered by a guaranteed benefit pension plan, they tend to be government employees, whereas non-governmental employees tend to have defined contributions rather than defined benefits that they receive. So that's a substantial difference in what as we've discussed before, what you want to capture is that population that's so dependent on their own financial behavior. A recommendation that Dr. James has is somewhere we should specify that when we say non-governmental employees, that should not be confused with the popular term non-governmental organizations or NGOs, of which there are many. And while members of the sample in theory could work for an NGO, they're not only going to be NGOs. So somewhere maybe in the Dr. Berner will call on you for guidance on this, but maybe in the assumption section, that could be something that could be added. The final question that Dr. James has is, if you must resort to snowballing for your sample, how will you ensure the prevention of biases, either by you or by the participant making the referral?
I would really stress the impact of the inclusion criteria. So, if, for example, you just gotta understand that the inclusion criteria says everything up front. Like, if they don't hit the criteria, they cannot participate in the study. So, and certain biases in terms of, like, if a person's just kind of like just answering the questions offhand without not even reading the question, then I would know that this is not, it's not really going to be good data. So,
And one of the ways you can evaluate that is one of the things SurveyMonkey will do is let you know the pace at which people answered questions, or if there was straight lining. So those would be indications of at least some of that automatic behavior. That's what I have on behalf of Dr. James. Dr. Berner?
I think he actually covered the question I had about the snowball sampling and incorporating bias by going down specific known tunnels. So thank you for him for that. The the so when you say, like, you can tell if people aren't really paying attention to the data or the questions and going through them, Andy sort of explained how our tools can show us that. I'd like you to speak just a little bit to your training and comfort level, and your plan for looking at not just the data but the metadata. How have you prepared yourself to really robustly and correctly get in and do that analysis, and what sorts of things would you identify as points at which you need to seek outside support, either from the committee or consultant?
in terms of, if there is extreme outliers, and I kind of like, I can pretty much go to the layer statistics and see how to go about addressing those outliers. But if it's really serious, like if I can't really, if I'm not able to do this, I will seek support. Um, Seek support to help me to, figure this out, because I am gonna be using a combination of XPSS to kind of like really guide me into the process. And there is in my SurveyMonkey League, I did add in one attention check question, which kind of like specifies like if you're reading the survey questions or you're not reading the survey questions. So if they were not able to read the survey questions, that automatically kicks them out as well. So I just want to make sure that all of my data is completely accurate. So
Great, great. So I really I'm satisfied. I think you've addressed lots of concerns and have handled things very well in getting to this point. And I would be comfortable putting yeah, passing on the talking stick. So I'll hand it back to you, Andy.
Thanks not very much, Dr. Berner. And thanks to you, Bamidele, for your responses. What we'll do now, Bamidele, is put you in a waiting room for a few minutes so Dr. Berner and I can talk, and then we will bring you back and share our discussion with you. So let me locate you here. And put you in a waiting room. We'll see you in a few minutes. Bye. Hey, Carrie.
I always mute myself. I'm sitting on the porch and the background noise. So I think it's fine. I mean, I think he seemed nervous.
Oh, let me stop the recording. I'm sorry.
Oops. Oh yeah. Oops. Yeah.
Let him know.
And you'll send me the form.
I will. Yes. I'll initiate it as soon as we're done here.
Super. I'll stay
Okay.
online.
Let's bring him back.
Okay.
Well, it tells me he's joining, but
Okay. He should be here.
yeah.
The internet hamsters are running slowly today.
Yeah, here he comes. Hello, Bamidele. Welcome back. I'm pleased to announce that you've successfully passed your dissertation proposal defense. Congratulations. And we look forward to you going forward with your study and what you come up with and working with you on that. Dr. Berner, do you have any final comments for Bamidele?
Congratulations. It's a big milestone. There's work ahead, but do take a moment, celebrate today, and you've done it, and this is a big step. So we're here for you and the steps to come, but take that minute. So, and I will step away and let you guys talk logistics.
Thanks to you, Dr. Berner. Thanks for all your help along the way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Have a good afternoon. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. So I will stop the recording now.